happy Wednesday. I apologize that I missed last Wednesday. I know 2 weeks ago I was telling you that I would be talking all about why we need to lift heavy last week. So we're gonna do that this week instead. So if you are somebody who has been doing resistance training, but focusing mostly on light weights with higher repetitions, think fitness classes. In most fitness classes, what you are actually doing when you are, doing a bicep curl or a squat or any other kind of, strength training type move, you are using lighter dumbbells and you are doing a lot of repetitions. Especially if you're somebody who's ever taken a body pump class. I used to teach body pump for years. That was one of my most favorite classes. And I truly thought I was doing real strength training. I thought I was building muscle by, teaching 3 body pump classes a week. But then I got really confused because I wasn't really noticing any changes in my body. I wasn't noticing more muscle. And so what it actually was muscle endurance training. So if you're unfamiliar with a class like body pump, or really, again, like any group fitness class, where you're doing a lot of repetitions of a certain exercise for, like for body pump, for example, you would do squats for like 5 minutes straight. Now, that was not helping me build my quads or my glutes. It was just making those muscles able to work for a very long period of time. So those muscles had a lot of endurance, but I wasn't building any strength and I really wasn't building any muscle. Maybe right when I first started, because it was brand new and my body was not used to that type of exercise, I may have noticed a little bit of, muscle being built, but just at the very, very beginning. So that's why I'm here to talk about why it is so important to actually lift heavy, okay? Light weights don't challenge our muscles enough. So, our bodies are very, very smart and they adapt very quickly to different things that we make them do. So, if you think about maybe, if you started focusing on steps and the first, few times you were trying to hit 7,000 steps a day, it was really challenging. And then after a while, your body started adapting to it and it became easier and easier. So the same thing happens when we are using light weights. Our body's adapting to them. So if it feels easy, maybe it's burning at the end of like 5 minutes. You're like, oh yeah, my muscles are burning. That's not really what we're looking for here. So if it feels too easy, our body has no reason to change. And so we don't build any strength, which means we don't boost our metabolism. And that is the whole purpose of strength training workouts. So, when we do strength training, we are trying to build muscle. That is the main purpose of doing a strength training workout. And the reason we want to build muscle is because starting at the age of 30, we lose 3 to 8% of our muscle mass each decade. And muscle is more metabolically active, meaning it burns more calories at rest. So even when you're sleeping, the more muscle you have on your body, the more calories you are burning while you're sleeping. Okay. But if we are losing muscle as we age, and it's just a symptom of aging, that's all it is, then we are slowing down our metabolism, because if we have less muscle, we're burning fewer calories throughout the day. So the main reason we want to do strength training workouts is to build that muscle back up. Okay. So just because we start losing muscle mass as we age doesn't mean there's nothing we can do about it. Okay. We can counteract that by building that muscle. Okay, so maybe, some people might want to just maintain the amount of muscle that they currently have and not lose any more. Other people might want to build more muscle to even further increase their metabolism. Okay, so more muscle equals more calories burned even at rest. Okay? And that is the key. Okay, we want to burn as many calories throughout the day as we can so that we don't gain weight as we age as well. Another thing with lifting heavy, okay, if we're doing actual true strength training, it actually helps support our hormones by balancing cortisol and insulin. And cortisol and insulin both play a role in us hanging on to fat, specifically belly fat. So strength training helps us balance those hormones, which is absolutely beneficial if we're trying to lose some fat. It also helps to protect our bones. Another not symptom, but side effect, I guess, of aging is bone density loss. Okay, maybe you have a relative who has osteoporosis or osteopenia, and that again is just an age-related thing that happens. Aging is super fun, isn't it? But if we do strength training with heavy weights, we are helping to protect our bones from that loss in bone density. Okay, and that is incredibly important because that allows us to stay strong and to stay independent as we age. We've all heard the story of an elderly person who falls and, breaks their hip because they have osteoporosis and their bone density is very low. And that's kind of the start of the end. I don't know about you, but I don't want that to happen to me. I want to, keep my muscles and I want to keep my bones nice and dense so that I don't break anything as I age, because I want to be independent. I don't want to have to rely on somebody to help me do things. Okay, for as long as possible, I'd like to be independent. Now, some women think that, well, I don't want to lift heavy weights because I'm going to get bulky. And you are not going to get bulky. We as women do not have enough testosterone in order to get bulky. Okay. What you will get is like tighter arms, a flatter stomach, a perkier booty. You will look toned and healthy. And, to me, there's a big difference between looking skinny and looking toned and healthy. A lot of people who look skinny don't look very healthy, right? But if we are building our muscle, we are looking toned, we are not looking big and bulky. It's just not possible. If you see female bodybuilders, there's a good chance they might be taking some supplements to help them get as big as they are. But if you Google, natural female bodybuilder, yes, they're going to look bigger and, more muscular than the typical woman, but they're not going to be looking like a man. And they are lifting in a completely different way. It's like, it's their job to lift. So they are exercising for hours upon hours a day, which is not what I'm suggesting that you do unless you want to be in a bodybuilding competition. So you will not get big and bulky and look like a man. So you might be wondering, what does lifting heavy actually mean? And it's relative, depending on where you are starting from. Really, it just means that it feels challenging. So a couple of ways that I try to explain this to my clients is, number one, you want the last 2 to 3 repetitions in each set to be hard. You are struggling to finish those last 2 to 3 repetitions. Okay. And if you're not sure what I mean about sets and repetitions, so essentially when you're doing strength training, let's use the example of squats. You may be doing, say, 3 sets of 10 squats. So what that means is set number 1, you're going to do 10 squats and then you're going to rest. And you're going to need that rest because those last, the 8th, 9th, and 10th squat that you did was really, really hard and you were struggling to finish them. Okay, so you need some time to rest before the next set. That tells you that you are lifting heavy enough. If you are able to do 10 squats and then do another 10 right away, you're not lifting heavy enough. Okay, and with squats, depending on if you're brand new to exercise, body weight might be challenging enough, okay, at the beginning. But then you want to make sure that you are upping that as you get stronger. So you do your 10 repetitions, you do 10 squats, you take a rest, and then set number 2, you'll do 10 more repetitions. And again, the last 2 to 3 squats are going to be really, really hard. You take another break. You want your breaks to be like you should be needing at least, at very minimum, a minute break between sets. Some exercises that I do, I take a 3-minute break between sets. And then you will do your final set, your third set of 10 repetitions. Okay, so that's what it means by sets and repetitions. So that's one way of thinking about it. Another way to think about it is that when you are done with your set, you should only be able to do maybe 3 or 4 more repetitions before your muscles completely give out on you. Okay, so when you're done with your set of squats, you'd only be able to do 3 or 4 more of them before you absolutely could not do another squat. So that's another way to kind of think about it. So either your last 2 to 3 are super, super challenging, or you only have 3 or 4 repetitions in reserve. Okay, repetitions that you can do, past that before your muscle just totally gave out on you. Okay, if you are cruising through 15 repetitions of anything, then it's time to pick up a heavier weight. So in order to build strength, the recommendation is to do typically somewhere between 6 and 12 repetitions in each set. Okay, with taking that nice long break in between sets. So if you're doing 15 or more repetitions of something, you need to lift heavier. Okay, so aiming for 6 to 12 repetitions is what is going to help you build that muscle. Okay, so honestly, lifting heavy. Oh, and another thing I wanted to say about that is you should be making an ugly face for those last few repetitions. Okay, you should not be able to smile through the last few repetitions. You are making an ugly face because you are struggling to complete those last few repetitions. Okay, if you're making an ugly face, then you're lifting heavy enough. So back to what I was saying, lifting heavy is absolutely one of the best things you can do, not just for fat loss, but also for your confidence and for your energy levels, and especially after the age of 40, because the workouts that we did in our 20s are not going to do much for us in our 40s and beyond. Okay? Strength training really truly is the most efficient way to work out and to keep yourself strong and independent as you age. Okay? It is safe, it's empowering, and it works. So comment below if you are going to try some strength training. I do have some, like a sample workout that I can share with you. So if you'd like that sample workout, just comment workout and I will send that over to you. But keep in mind, you need to lift heavy in order for it to really do the job it's supposed to be doing. All right. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. If you have any questions about lifting heavy or strength training, just drop them below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. Or you can send me a message if it's something more private. But have a fabulous rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you all soon. Take care.